Hello guys and girls, and welcome to a Wheelie Goood vlog. This video is going to center around my disability. It's something that I've always mentioned throughout this channel, and today I wanted to talk about 6 things that annoy the shit out of me when it comes to my condition. For those that don't know, I have cerebral palsy. I'm unable to walk, but surprisingly, that's not at the top of this list. Because at the end of the day, you've got to play the cards you've dealt with and you've got to stay strong while you're doing it. For me, one of them has to be spasms, tightness of the muscles, stiffness of the legs. This is a symptom that occurs throughout the day, every day for me. If I spasm and my legs aren't strapped into my foot plates, they tend to elevate and start to tighten up. This is not only painful, but it interrupts my daily schedule. Sometimes I have to wait it out, and it could be anywhere between 5 minutes to 30 minutes that it settles and it passes. But just because it passes doesn't mean it won't come back. It does come back. And to treat this, as you would expect, I'm on drugs that are supposed to loosen up the muscles and release the tightness within my legs. This also leads to a bunch of other interruptions, such as not being able to transfer to and fro my wheelchair to the bed, for example. Sometimes it happens when I take my weight through my legs and I'm stuck for a few seconds to a few minutes until I can move again. Spasms and tightness. Annoying mofo. That's what I'm gonna say. Next is, although some might say this is beneficial, but I've always found it annoying, physiotherapy. My frustration got the better of me, and it led me to take a break from having physiotherapy for 5 years after my second surgery. I just thought, fuck it, I ain't doing it anymore. This isn't getting me anywhere, so what the fuck, right? Big mistake. As I mentioned in my previous video, my Dear Me video, you will see that this is one of my biggest regrets. But it doesn't mean that it's still not annoying. At the time of my last surgery, my surgeon actually said that I should take on physiotherapy to maintain my strength, not only in my upper body, but my legs as well. As you would expect, any doctor would say that to you, right? But I didn't. I was just so frustrated with life and how everything was just so slow that I just said, fuck it. So that's something that I didn't do for 5 straight years, and boy, do I regret it. I can't explain just how annoying it is to not only be given false hope, not necessarily by the doctors, but the physiotherapists who said one thing and another thing happens. And this led to a lot of disappointment, especially from my family's perspective, as they had different expectations for me, a lot of them expected me to be on crutches after a few months of physiotherapy, but of course that didn't happen. Next thing on the list has to be fatigue. Now, a lot of people aren't really aware of this. With CP and most other disabilities, you tend to feel fatigue throughout the day, and this could happen every day or it could happen every other day. With me it varies. I mean, it depends on how productive I have been on that day, where I just am so tired that I can't concentrate. When I do have fatigue, I tend to lean to the left quite a lot. A lot of the times I don't realize that I'm doing it until someone tells me that I'm doing it. And it can be embarrassing for me, for people to see me that way, but I like to think that I've improved my trunk a little bit in that regard. Let's say you just got up from the dinner table and all of a sudden you feel drained, or you just came home from going out and all of a sudden you just feel really heavy and tired and sleepy. Sometimes it gets to the point where you can't hear the person that's actually talking to you. Although that rarely has happened to me, but when it does, I do have to ask people to repeat themselves. So yeah, that is a bitch. I often make myself feel better by saying that cerebral palsy and disabilities alike kind of train you to be skillful in planning and organizing and making sure that you're punctual. Because of the wheelchairs that we're bound in, it kind of requires us to constantly plan. So, say if I was going out somewhere, a restaurant or a cinema, any social activity that you can think of, a theme park even, the greatest example I will review in a sec, but the fact that you have to call places before going to your destination is a big ball ache, because sometimes people will say it's accessible, and oftentimes when you hear an able-bodied person say it's accessible, it becomes inaccessible, because to them accessible means yes, we have disabled toilets, but we've got stairs leading to the disabled toilets. Or, yes, we have seating available, but to get in to the restaurant results in people moving out the way to make sure you can get to the table. that's another thing. Going to restaurants often make you feel like you're in the way because you've got to make sure that it's not too busy. So it's essential for you to go at quieter times when there's less people. Because as soon as you show up at that place with a huge chair, you're interrupting other people's, dinners. And that's, to a degree, that's embarrassing, even though I'm not to blame for it. The example I want to share with you of an able-bodied person calling an inaccessible place accessible is when I went to Legoland with the family and my nephew was with me. I actually made a video on that trip. I describe how I'm not able to get on any of the rides, and that's exactly what happened. I wasn't able to get on a ride because there was either steps going up to it or it just wasn't accessible. You kind of wonder, like, damn, am I really strange to a lot of people, to society, to make me feel so alienated? They call an inaccessible place accessible, thinking that I won't notice. That's just BS. No able-bodied person will be able to understand or relate to a disabled person unless they experience it for themselves, unless they know exactly what it's like to be the odd one out. That's the best way I can put it. The next annoying thing for me as a disabled person living with CP is when family and friends think they know better than I do. They have no idea. Absolutely no idea. It's like I said, unless an able-bodied person has experienced life as a disabled person, it's not enough for your family to be around you experiencing what you go through, because they still don't fully understand how you may feel or what struggles you're facing. You often get accused of fabricating it to the point where it's not as bad as I'm making it out to be, and that annoys the shit out of me. How can you judge the scale of the issue just from me talking about it and then making it worse by completely dismissing it and throwing it to one side? That's not the way to do it. This is something that I've had to deal with throughout life all the time. The final thing I want to touch on, feeling like we as disabled people have no choice but to adapt to the world that we live in, rather than the world adapting to us. Put yourself in my shoes for a second and think about how isolated and alienated that forces a disabled person to feel. It's difficult. Sometimes it frustrates you deeply to the point where you say to yourself, it's not fair. What if this happened? What if that happened? It can also play tricks on your mind and force you to ask questions like, why me? Why was I chosen to be disabled. And I wish society and the cruel world that we live in could just open their eyes and just see how our surroundings can affect us. Because everywhere, every location in the world has a probability of it being inaccessible. An able-bodied perception of accessibility is so different to how we as disabled people convey accessibility. It's crazy to me. I don't understand how people and the world can be so inconsiderate and ignorant about such things. Disability perception can be one of the worst, one of the cruelest things ever to emerge. I've come face to face with it. People have said, are you sure you want to do this way? Are you sure that you're capable of doing something like that? Etc., etc. Just because we're disabled doesn't mean we're disabled, if that makes any sense. What I mean when I say that is, don't take the word disabled so literally. It's just a label. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helped some of you to better understand disability and cerebral palsy. The reason I made this video is because I wanted people out there to know that we're not too different from each other. I hope it gave you guys some insight. I hope this helped you in some way. Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned to this channel for more videos like this, and please do make the effort to let me know what you would like to see more of on this channel so that I could cater to my audience. Comment below this video and tell me what you want to see on Wheelie Goood. Until my next video, this is B signing off. Have a really good day.